Adore Delano. Thank you for listening to Rock at Night. Party!
Are you ready? Tonight I'm gonna take you on a little trip. We're going down south by the mighty Mississippi. I'm gonna take you to a place where lights never dim. Bring your mother, your brother, and your best friend. I'm gonna show you where they dance out in the street. They'll tell you all about your body heat. Not gonna talk about it, just gonna do it. Get on down if you feel up good. Get on down.
Hi everyone, you're listening to Rock at Night. This is Andrea, and I have the pleasure of having with me today the wonderful and amazing Adore Delano. How are you doing, Adore?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. So tell us, what have you been up to lately? I know you've done a lot of things in the past, and you have a new exciting project that you're working on.
Yeah, definitely. I never stop writing. So, I mean, like, if we're, like, have, like, a day or two off at home, like, I definitely get the pen and paper out, and I have, like, a manic brain. So, I mean, if I released everything, I'd have, like, 7 albums by now. But, no, yeah, I wrote this new little project right here because I wanted to, like, have something to match my performance style and kind of have every one of my influences growing up kind of bleed into this kind of gig, because I don't see any drag girls doing any type of hard or heavier music, so it should be an interesting gig.
Now, what is the name of the album?
The album's called Whatever.
I love any reason why it's called Whatever?
There's like 7 different reasons, man. I'm a stoner, so I came up with this. Like, I had to really like think about this one for a second. But no, yeah, I really wanted the most just blah blah like title of all. Like, I put so much into this, but I wanted them to know, like, no matter what you feel while listening to this, because I know I'm going to lose a lot of, like, you know, drag music fans and stuff, but I presume I'm gonna actually gain some fans as well. But whatever will be.
No, but you have a lot of loyal fans, and I've seen your Twitter and I've seen your Instagram, and you have some pretty some pretty good fans, and I don't think you're gonna lose any fans. Hopefully you'll gain more. A lot more than what you have.
Hopefully.
Now, why metal? Why did you go from, because mostly you were doing a lot of the R&B, of course. You were, for people who don't know, you were on American Idol, and then you were also on Drag Race. And then what was the switch? What made you get into rock and roll? I mean, did you have a specific influence at the time?
Well, initially, I started out with rock music. In high school, I was in a punk band called Teenage Rampage with my high school girlfriends, and we sucked ass, but it was my passion. I really loved the heavier music. But I mean, well, it's definitely it fits my performance style. I've been covering a lot of Nirvana and Brody Bill and Distillers and stuff like that, and the kids have been very receptive towards it. But initially, my second record, After Party, was supposed to be more of a heavier influence with different producers. But on Drag Race, the management team that I have, we're assigned to this like kind of management team where we all use kind of like the same music producers. So we ended up just kind of using the same producers over and over because it was easier and convenient due to my touring schedule. But initially and essentially it was all supposed to be kind of a heavier sound the second time around. But whatever, it's never too late to get weird.
Now, your writing, what are some of your, where do you get your influence writing-wise? So do you have a specific point in your life or some current events, anything that inspired you to do the rock album writing-wise?
Well, it sounds super hippie, but it's true. Like, I like to listen to instrumentation first. I like to listen to the instruments. I like to have somebody play a guitar or a piano or something, and then I come up with melody all together. I think when it's kind of like a collective experience with your producer and the bandmates and you yourself, it becomes more fresh and more kind of like genuine. So I mean, I like to pull from different parts of my life depending on how the song makes me feel. Like, there's a song on my record called No School, and I pulled from, like, being 15, 16 and figuring out, like, how people are freaking weird. And there's also songs about, like, 4 months ago, so it's like, yeah. I guess personal experience.
Now, I have to tell you, the rock and roll community, they're a tough bunch. Do you think you're going to be do you think you're going to be accepted into the rock and roll genre?
I think I will, because I don't give a fuck. Like the last interview I just did, like the last interview I did with like, I think it was with Billboard. They were like, "Oh my God, are you nervous about this?" And I'm like, "No, the album's called Whatever for a reason, man. Like this, I'm not doing this to sell records. I'm doing this to perform and have it match my style and to be fresh and get a band on the road and really do what I want to do." But if they like it, I love that. I mean, I've been seeing like these cool like heavy metal fuckers like at my Sydney shows in Australia, these straight guys. It's really neat to see that because it's kind of blending the two genres together. But it should be an interesting ride. If they don't like me, they can kiss my ass. If they do, then I love them.
No, you're absolutely right, because a lot of rock and roll music is based on let's see, androgynous. You have David Bowie, and then you have even, I was watching your video, Negative Nancy, which I love. I love the sound. And I'm looking at, I'm like, it reminds me of some, and I'm trying to think, and you kind of have like, and sorry if this is going to sound insulting or not, I don't need to compare people, but you have a little bit of a Marilyn Manson touch to your style.
Really? I fucking love that guy, so thanks. Yeah. I get scared when people compare me to, like, idols like that, because I don't want, like, anybody thinking I sound like that shit, because Marilyn Manson's, like, a fucking god to me, so that's dope. Thank you.
You know, and he was amazing. He was a rocker who had that F you attitude. You know, I don't care. I'm going to wear makeup. I'm going to wear, you know, like the Dope Show. If you ever seen the video of the Dope Show, he's just amazing in that video. And
and the whole era of Mechanical Animals was my favorite because he was blending the whole gender line before it was even like a revolutionary movement. Like that was like something that was super taboo and nobody should have touched in a political movement and that way. But he definitely took it there. So he was a huge influence on me as a kid.
Right. I mean, and he's very well respected. You know, and I think when I was watching your video, I was so excited to see that again. I was like, yes. I'm like, hopefully Dory can bring it back, because he was such an inspiration. And to me, I mean, I just loved him. He just didn't give a crap. But
I still follow him on Instagram. He's so hilarious.
Now, are you planning on touring?
Yeah, we start touring. September, we kick off the tour in England, and then we have an Australian whatever tour next year, and then we have like a Europe tour. We're doing Brazil, Argentina, and Peru as well.
Okay. Are you going to come visit us in Philadelphia? I'm from Philadelphia, so I would love to go see one of your shows.
I love Philly. When I first got my nose job, I went there and did a band show, and I hit it on the mic, and it started bleeding.
Oh, no. Well, you don't want to, we don't want Philly. We don't want you to have a bad name. Sorry Philly did that to you.
No, it was an awesome show. It was awesome.
Where did you play in Philadelphia?
It was a small little rock venue. I'm going to be a dick because I totally forgot the name, but it was a small little rock venue, and we had my band come out, and we did like an East Coast tour in a little like van, and Philly was one of the stops.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
If Philly is one
of
those...
I don't know, it was that damn venue, man. I forgot.
Philly's one of those towns where music is they're very open-minded to music, which is why a lot of bands come here. You know, Philadelphia is very good when it comes to music. We're very supportive. But I'm curious as to what your touring style is going to be, or what you're going to look like on stage. Do you have any ideas?
That's like something that goes through my head daily, man. Like I'm like, well, cause I mean, I'm more of a like, I'm not like that visual, but like, it's, but it's gonna be definitely different and fun. So it's gonna be surprising to see the kids' reactions because they're so used to me like Well, actually, I'm bleeding them in. They're kind of getting used to it now. They know my style.
Now, your influences, is it mostly, you said mostly 90s influence, right? Were you influenced by a lot of the
For sure.
the grunge bands in the 90s?
For sure. Even like, Audio Slave and stuff. I mean, all the gigs growing up. I was a 90s baby in 2000s, like growing up in school. So, I mean, like I said, when I mentioned the Mechanical Animals era, like that whole gig was like, that's when I was growing up and seeing like rock music take that kind of like stance when I was growing up. It was kind of like the weird discovery moment, and I kind of wanted to put that into a little bit of it, at least like some of the sound, into like a couple of the songs at least, because that was a huge important part of my life developing and growing up as a teenager.
You see, when I was growing up in the 80s, I grew up with a lot of the glam bands, the glam metal bands of the 80s. Were you influenced by any of them at all?
Oh, for sure. I was just talking on my live chat the other day about how, like, how the biggest crush on Slash, man. Like, my dad had this, like, this garage, like, and he, like, had, like, all these bands on one wall and, like, all these, like, Budweiser girls. And I would just sit there and fantasize about marrying, like, all the guys from, like, Poison and Twisted Sister. Like,
I have the Poison album. I don't know if you remember their first album. The first Poison album was Look What the Cat Dragged In. I think that was the name of their album. When it's the picture of the four of them, and they're all dressed in, their hair are teased and they're wearing makeup.
Yes, they're like like drag queens. They're literally like so. Yeah.
Amazing. I think growing up in the 80s, I was a child who grew up with a lot of the drag, the drag crossover, because you had Culture Club, you had the glam bands like Poison, and you had Dead or Alive, Pete Burns. So it's like the 80s were always so amazing when it came to that. And and it's good that
it was using feminism and like using it in a powerful way, and almost like bleeding it over into another. There was no like limits to that. That's what's so beautiful about the 80s, is because it was so experimental and so accepting that it was just like hair, makeup, louder, bigger, the more the merrier. Now it's like so like it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because I almost feel like the 90s kind of killed that. So
no, for sure though. That's the irony of it all, is that like me growing up and kind of like pulling from influences of that, like, and I think that's super important to even bring up Marilyn Manson again, bringing that whole vibe back, because I think it did lose in the 90s, and he did kind of like shock everybody and be like, hi, like, I have no genitalia, like
yeah, like the 90s had great music, instrumentally wise, writing wise. The music was fantastic, but I always have this discussion, in arguments with my friends, and I was like, but the 90s kind of killed what I thought was great about the 80s, which was that glamour, the crossover, like the boys being girl kind of thing. But it's good to see.
Oh, for sure.
But to see you doing this, it's just like, wow, I'm like, I can't believe it. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess you're right, man. I'm like thinking about like all like the bands and stuff. It did go to like the greasy, not really caring about how the look went. Like it totally went the opposite. Yeah.
Now, what has life been like after American Idol for you? Has it changed a lot dramatically?
American Idol was interesting. I learned how to like act in front of a camera and be professional and be, all that gig. But I mean, it was chill. Like, it didn't really do much. It put me into like a really bad depression after, because like I didn't know what to do after. Like, you have to really have a game plan after a show like that, or you'll lose it. Because it's like, there's no category for me after that show.
Did they actually train you how to be on camera and how to speak? Because I've heard that that's a big thing where I guess they train you how to be on camera.
Yeah, they definitely did. And I'm grateful for that, because I remember the first time they turned the camera on, I froze and I turned super red, and I was like, I don't know how to talk. Like, this is not my gig. I'm from a small town. Yeah.
Now tell us, about your video. It's Negative Nancy. Is that from your first? Is that from your current album?
Yeah, the new record, whatever, comes out the 21st, and that's just like the promotional single, just to get everybody scared and like being like, what the hell's going on with her? But yeah, it's the first gig. I picked it because it was like raw and it was weird, it was loud, and I wanted to just shock them because the rest of the album is kind of chiller, but like, it has that hardness in it. So I wanted to kind of shock them into it.
Very good. And it seemed like the video had a. It was interesting. It had a little bit of a, like I said, a little bit of that Britney. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Britney Spears, also with the girl and her.
I love her.
And didn't you perform with Britney Spears?
Oh, she called me on stage. Like she calls like the girls on stage sometimes for freak shows. She called me when Logo had set that up, though, like before the crowning of season 6, and she had called me upstage or whatever. But I was just excited that her assistant Felicia knew my name because I knew her since I was like 7. So I was like, oh my God, Felicia knows the name.
Now tell us about give these rockers a little bit of Drag Race history. How did you get involved with Drag Race?
Drag Race. Well, I started doing, like I said, I was when I was younger, I was super gender bendy, super Pete Burns. I was like a little punk bitch in a little punk band. I was like girly. So like I toned it down because my mom, because I was gonna audition for it when I was like young, like 16, and she was like no. And then when I was like 17, she's like, cut your hair, they're gonna like kill you. But yeah, that's basically how that took off. And then but Drag Race, I started tapping back into like my makeup roots and my gigs, and I was doing the YouTube videos and stuff like that and characters, and I love drag shows, and yeah, I just picked up on it. I started being like, dude, like a lot of my friends like were starting to like work in tip spots, and they're starting out in drag, and I was like, I'm way prettier than like 80% of them, so I put so I did it, and I got my own show in Orange County, and I just
Wow. And you made it to the final 3, right? Did you?
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I lost track of the show. I started watching it when it first came out, and I think after like the 4th season, I stopped. I stopped watching because I think they stopped carrying it on the channel I used to watch it. So that was the end of Drag Race for me. So that was.
I love season 4. Season 4 is a good season to end on, though. Sharon's like one of my favorites like of all time.
Yes, but now I think I'm gonna have to go back and do and watch season. You were on the 6th season, I think, of Drag Race, and I have to go back and I have to rewatch that entire episode, the entire season.
Yeah, it's different.
Now, are your friends and family supportive of what you do?
Surprisingly, yeah.
Yes,
like
that's good.
I come from like a really like Hispanic like gangster family, and they're super accepting. Like like they don't give a shit. Like they're just like, whoever fucks with you will beat their ass. Like.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Is there any advice you have a lot of loyal fans? And is there any advice you have for any of your fans, especially in this age, with all the politics and everything that's going on in the world right now with our current affairs? Is there any advice you would like to give them?
Absolutely. I have a couple of things to say. I think that I'm going to give a Libra answer. You should not take life so serious right now because you can get really, really, really dark really, really easy, but you should also take life serious right now because it can do the exact same thing. I say pick up a sign, go fight for what you believe in. Don't let anybody tell you that what you're doing and what you feel is not valid. I think, like you should not take yourself so serious. And like we're living in like some freaking crazy ass times right now where we got to just kind of like express who we are and understand that we are valid and we are important.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you so much, Adora, for taking time to speak to Rock at Night. And we can't wait until your album comes out August 21st?
Yes.
Okay, great. We cannot wait. And where can people hear the album? Where can we buy the album?
It's going to be distributed everywhere online, like everywhere, like all the stores online, girl, like Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you want to get it, Google, Apple Music.
Great, and it's called Whatever, and
Yes.
it comes out. So everyone, make sure to on August 21st to go and take a listen because I love you. You're an amazing singer. Also, you have such a great talent, and thank you again so much for taking the time.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And the best of luck, and I hope to see you on tour soon, and hopefully Philly will be one of your stops.
Oh, I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adora.
Thank you, babe.
Thank you.
You're listening to Rock at Night.
Thanks for the intro melody. It's called Get On Down by Billy Bass Alford. Thanks.